and Stacy D.
I'm JP Craddock, and I'm here with the one and only, the lovely Miss Stacy D. Love. Coming up on the show today, we have our question of the day, which is, well, the D is handling this business, but it's old school versus new school parenting, taking a look at the philosophies, the difference in philosophies and approaches, and I don't know what the D has in store for me, but I think it's some type of quiz, and I'm nervous.
Well, we're supposed to be having a special guest, and she flopped on us, Stephanie.
She done called out my sister. My poor sister.
I won't be at the Thanksgiving dinner.
She's old school for real, so it would have been wonderful having her.
Yes, it would have.
But I told her that we cover enough other interesting topics because I do want her to come on the show because she's one of our DIVs. Yeah, she be watching the show. We missed her comment last week because between you and Mr. Walker, somebody is not reading these comments.
I'm going to put that on our engineer.
Okay, so that's coming up as our question of the day. But before we get to that, what's the D's check-in?
Okay, you guys, I'm going to try not to get sensitive on this because I think not only am I checking in, but we need to check in on our feelings. Like, we had another school shooting.
Oh, I missed this one.
In Philadelphia.
What happened?
It was, yeah. Can I have my researcher start researching it, please? It was in Philadelphia this week.
She assigned duties to people. This is why we need an intern.
I know, you still on that.
We're going to get an intern.
Okay, that's on our wish list.
Yeah.
We're going to give that to Santa Claus.
I'm going to give it to KU.
But there was another school shooting in Philadelphia. And I was on the phone I was talking to my niece, and it came through our phones because I guess we have that. She put this news flash thing, and she's like, oh. And I was like, what? She's like, look at your phone until, because I'm speaking on my headsets. And she was like, look at your phone until. I'm like, oh my God. She's like, yeah, it's just another school shooting. Okay, Auntie. So anyway, And I was like, no, I'm getting off the phone because I need to pray. Because it was a school shooting, and it was just so terrible that the kids, it was after a football game, and they were walking across the field to get on the bus or something, and it just really messed with my spirit because
Where was it at?
It was in Philadelphia.
Okay.
The researcher is researching it. He needs to go a little faster.
Okay. He's working on it.
He's working on it.
And I'm going to work on it.
Okay. And you're going to work. Our researcher is just fine. He's getting it, JP.
There was a school shooting in Philadelphia 2 days ago.
Yes.
A 14-year-old boy was killed and 4 other teenagers wounded in Philadelphia after a football scrimmage outside Roxbury High School.
Thank you. And they were where they were supposed to be. I'm just tired of all these school shootings. And we as Americans are like, oh, it's just another school shooting. And I had to stop and just start praying and just asking God to continue to cover our children, to most definitely I'm gonna do my selfish prayer, cover my grandchildren. I mean, because it's just getting to be terrible. I mean, it has gotten to be. These children are where they're supposed to be. They're not on those street corners. They are in school trying to do extracurricular activities to better themselves. This is what we have always said in therapy and in psychosocials, is to have your children in extracurricular activities. It brings up morale. It brings up their self-esteem, their self-concept. It's show them how to work in teams, and here we are pushing them, and they're having a senseless death. And that's my just check-in. We are needing to do something. I don't know what it is that we need to do, but we need to do something. It just blew me how my niece like, oh, Auntie, it's just another school shooting, and she wanted to continue talking to me about what we were talking about, which it was business related, but she just blew it off. Oh, it's just another school shooting. No, it cannot be another school shooting. There are literally, it's a massacre on our children. And we just, I'm sorry.
Well,
The D
and
is so emotional now.
the mass shootings, which includes the school shootings, as of early July, we had 314 in the U.S. this year alone.
And that was in July. So think how many it is now in September. Well,
Exactly.
about to be October.
Yeah, because
It's just sad.
and here's what you are addressing. You're addressing the sadness and the insanity of it, but you're also addressing apathy. Now let's talk about apathy for a minute.
Because he's going to bring it right on down to therapeutic ways.
Yeah. We
I
gotta get
tiptoes on it, and he gets all down up in
I got
it.
to get down.
He
and
get
dirty
down
and
up in it.
clinical.
I just tiptoes on it.
I can't help it. Apathy is not caring. That's the clinical term for not caring.
caring.
And so your niece was coming across a little apathetic, but let me explain why. The human brain is designed to protect us from
Just keep on.
discomfort. The human brain is designed to protect us from discomfort, to protect us from harm. And so what happens, let's discuss sensory adaptation for a minute. Have you ever
Explain what that is.
Yes. Sensory adaptation, we have our senses, sense of smell, sense of sight, but I'm mainly talking about sense of smell, olfactory, which is the clinical term for smell. Have you ever walked into a person's house, because you do in-home, and I did in-home for years.
And he will never do it again.
Never, ever again.
And I love it.
I'm not going into people's houses anymore. But you ever walk into people's house and it has a strong, pungent odor
All the time.
from the filth, right? But you don't realize it. Once you sit down on the couch and you start working with them, after a while, you don't smell it anymore.
You lose the sense of the smell.
Because our brain is set up, it's uncomfortable. Our brain is set up to protect us from anything that is uncomfortable. So sensory adaptation takes place. You basically get used to the smell and do not smell it anymore. And so a lot of times therapists and case managers say, I don't know how that family can live with that smell in their house. And I explain to them, they don't smell
They
it.
don't smell it anymore.
They are drenched in sensory adaptation. And so when it comes to the violence of our society, our brain is at a point where it's trying to protect us from overload, from the trauma.
So my brain just said, just let it all come in.
Basically, but what your niece's brain is doing
Stop.
is her brain is protecting her from secondary PTSD.
Secondary. And we
Ending up with
discussed that 2 weeks ago.
PTSD from just hearing about horribly violent, dangerous, and insane things. And so that's what we have to keep in mind, that as the world appears to not care, because back before we were having so many mass shootings, she would have been shocked at that. But
Yeah.
at this point,
What, like a year ago, maybe?
there's a shooting every week.
Sometime a couple.
I mean, if we were up to 314 shootings in July,
And that was before
There's-
school started.
there's 365 days in the year. So we're already at a rate of a shooting a day. In a single weekend, there was like 5 mass shootings over the holiday weekend. And so back before all of that, everybody was shocked. Oh my God, oh Lord, how they shoot the babies. How they
Shooting the
shoot
babies.
But at this point, your niece is like, it's
Oh, well.
it's her brain.
It's our brain.
Her brain is protecting her. So she's like, she saw it. She understood what it was, but her brain is like, we're not doing that. We're not. Now then she has an auntie though who's like, no, you gonna feel this trauma. You gonna get PTSD today.
Today, you're going to get PTSD. Secondhand PTSD.
But here's why I support what you did. because we as a society cannot allow our brains to shut us off from the horrors that we are dealing with and surrounded by. We cannot afford to become apathetic because the problem actually gets worse.
Yes, it does.
If everybody stops caring and stops feeling the weight of it, it's only going to get worse, because the people who are committing these mass shootings are doing so because they are apathetic. A human life is not a human life to them, because we live in a world where human lives being taken is as common as people going out and hunting. It's like no big deal. You went hunting, you shot a buck, you brought it home, we skinned it, we ate, put
the head on the wall.
It's no big deal to take another human life. And so when you think about it, it's portrayed in movies, it's portrayed on TV, it's absolutely portrayed in the video games. So our children are growing up not...
Wow, you done went real deep with it.
Yeah, because
the video
games decrease the value of human life.
Yes, it
by
does.
making it sport, making it fun,
yes,
and making it common. A kid can get on a video game for 2-3 hours a day and take human lives for 2 or 3 hours every day.
We need to start looking at how they do those when they catch the ones that do the mass shootings. Are they an avid video game player?
They need to study them more.
Wow.
They need to study the sociopathy, the psychopathology within those individuals. But it's basically because they have become desensitized, which is what a sociopath is. A sociopath is desensitized to human existence.
To the 10th power.
And so that's what's going on, and that's why our world has become so dangerously violent, and the level of lethality is through the roof. But everybody has to do what you did, which is challenge each other. No, we are not going to brush this under the rug. We are not going to desensitize to the loss of human life. Now, you have to strike a balance, because you don't want people feeling it so much that they end up with secondary PTSD, but you don't want them at the opposite extreme where they're like, whatever.
Yeah.
No, everybody has to land in the middle, where we force ourselves to pause. This is what I do.
Pause.
Because if I'm like, I watch the news while I'm ironing. Okay, something that neither here nor there. I'm gonna come back to that later. But when I'm ironing, I watch the news, and so when a mass shooting comes on, if I catch myself just continuing to iron while listening, I have to force myself to stop and pay attention to the story, because it's like, no, out of respect for the lives that were lost, I am not going to experience sensory adaptation to what I'm hearing right now. I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause and absorb this. Not to the level I get secondary PTSD, but I need to absorb it, because we have to remain in touch with the value of human lives.
I agree.
Then once I feel like, okay, I have respectfully gave my attention to this massacre, now I can go on about my day, because I don't want to get stuck in it. But yeah, hopefully that's what she got from what you were saying to her is, hey, you're going to the opposite extreme. I don't want you traumatized, but you don't need to go to the opposite extreme and act like this is okay, because it's not.
It's not.
Children are not safe. Children are getting shot at. Everyone is afraid to send their kids to school, because now even elementary schools get killed. Kids get shot and killed. So everybody was like, well, I don't have to worry about this till my kids get to high school. Kids get to high school.
Because the one in Texas was an elementary school.
Yes. People will go, and because they've realized, okay, it's a little harder to get into the high schools. I'm going to go into an elementary school. Nobody's expecting somebody to come in there and shoot up the place. And so no kids are safe. Your kid is not safe in kindergarten.
Isn't that terrible?
That's the world that we live in.
And I was talking to another niece, and I'm hurrying to get off here because I got to let JP have his time. I was talking to another niece, and she homeschooled her children, and she and I had a whole conversation on that they really need that. They need for their social skills, that they need to be in classrooms. They need to learn how to take direction from adults. I can do all that at home. I can do all, like, no, niece, you can't.
Yeah,
you just can't.
Because what the risk for those kids is the development of social anxiety, which has drastically increased in our young people, because young people are not outside playing with other kids in the neighborhood anymore.
No,
they're all in the house on their phones,
on the games,
on their games, and so their level of socialization has drastically decreased due to the phones, the technology, and they consider their social outlet to be social media, which is not true socialization. And this is something for parents to be aware of. See, now we're talking to new school parents right now.
New school parents.
Something for parents to be aware of is you cannot replace actual socialization with social media. Do not think that because your kid is talking,
because it says social.
Right. Don't think that because your kids are talking to all their little dumb friends through Facebook or TikTok that is actual socialization skills,
Instagram,
that will prevent them from ending up with social anxiety disorder.
No.
Because a lot of the kids that I see in therapy for social anxiety disorder, they're active on social media.
And that's it.
So their parents are like, well, I don't understand why
they
my
social.
Kid they anxious. Why are they so anxious when we're in public and da-da-da-da? I'm like, you thought that social media was actual socialization? No, it's not. It's not. And so, go ahead, D.
No, I'm done. Go on and get your stuff because, we're running behind like always. You want to talk too much.
Today. We're not going to do that today.
We're not going to do what today?
Here's what happens. We are squeezing. We're always trying to squeeze 90 minutes worth of material into a 60-minute show. That's the reason why we're always behind, because the D gets off track. She's tangentiality, okay? That's a clinical term for somebody who be running off on tangents, okay? I tend to be a little exhibit long-winded, a little circumstantiality.
And that means people that talk too much.
The clinical term.
What's the clinical term of long-winded? Give it to me because I don't know it.
I exhibit circumstantiality. What circumstantiality is...
4 syllables. What is it?
When a person breaks something down and down and down to the specific details. But here's the thing, I can't really help it. Like when we're
just like washing your hands.
Well, I had to go wash my hands before we started. Here's the reason why. I am so much of a therapist that any conversation I'm having, I filter it through a clinical lens.
He does.
And so when we're on the show and we talk about something, I immediately I see all the clinical terms for it floating around in my head, and I want our viewers to understand these clinical terms.
What clinical name could we? Oh, we already gave you that clinical name. Circumstantiality.
So it comes across as being long-winded, but it's overly, thoroughly detailed.
Overly.
Because I really didn't need to explain to you all circumstantiality.
But you did, though. But you did.
I couldn't help it. Okay.
You always know the therapist.
Turn that fan on.
You know the therapist need a therapist.
And so here's the positive side of it. For our listeners, because most people listen to the show, but for those who view it on Facebook or YouTube or whatever, if they ever go to therapy, they are going to know what the therapist is talking about. They're going to be able to understand these clinical terms. So that's a good thing. Okay, let's get to my check-in.
Do we have the air conditioners on in here?
Here we go. See, this is the reason why we get behind.
Yeah, you only got 4 minutes.
Okay. And my check-in is brief.
Okay, cool.
I want you to wish me luck
Not
this
really,
weekend.
because of the circumstantiality of itself.
No, it's not clinical. It's not.
Okay.
It's nothing clinical.
But you make everything clinical, JP.
Well, I'm trying not to do that. Right
Okay.
now, I'm trying to see this clock, so I
Okay.
don't want us to be too late. Okay.
Okay, come
And
on.
so, my class reunion is this weekend,
Oh,
but I'm
really?
not going. Yeah, I'm not going.
Why?
Because October is such a busy month with the class reunion and going to Tennessee and going to Vegas. Like, there was no time for that. I am taking a mini retreat this weekend. I am going to leave the house. I'm going to spend a lot of time in my office, and then I'm going to be in a hotel room. I am going to be working on writing and hopefully completing 2 books over the weekend. Because
2 books, JP.
well, no, I've been working on them.
Oh, so you just finna end them.
I'm trying to get through them, and I'm because I want them done by January, and so I need you to wish me luck that
All the luck in the
this
world.
weekend, if I don't have these 2 books done, they better be dang near done. They better be so close to done that when we go to Tennessee, and because I do writing in Tennessee, I better be able to get them done by the end of this month. So that's why I'm missing the class reunion, because I got to get the writing done.
Because it was a little class reunion last Saturday I went.
Yeah, it was like an all school.
Uh-huh.
You went to that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I sent it to you. You didn't. I text.
You didn't send me that?
Yes, I did. Look on your text.
Okay, D.
Look on your text, and you're gonna apologize to
Kim
me.
Clark told me about it. Well, she posted something about it.
Yeah, and
but
I sent it to you. I went. It was really good. It was like all the schools, and I was like, yeah, I was a year ahead of y'all. But actually, I was supposed to graduate in '87, but I got put up in the 3rd grade.
Oh, it was just for 87 for all the schools.
Hmm. But they
Did you-
told everybody to come out though.
Okay, did you know a lot of people there?
Yeah.
Was it a lot of people there?
Yes, the place was packed.
Where was it at?
It was in the little. Okay, are we really supposed to be talking about all this right now in the air? This is our problem.
Tangentiality. She's off on a tangent.
I'm on a. Who helped me? Who took me to the road to go?
Oh my goodness.
Who took me on the road? That's right.
We are more tangential and circumstantial than a psychotic person. Because these are symptoms in psychotic people. Okay, I'm gonna stop.
And everyone, I have a real sore throat, so that's why I'm on the throat lozenges today.
Okay, can we do mental health and illness in the news?
Yeah, you have 3 minutes.
This is a quick story. This is
on
about
our circumstantial. What did he say the name was?
There's an article in Psychology Today. I'm not going to do circumstantiality. I'm not going to break this down
Circumstantiality.
clinically. Well, it's
Yes,
a
he
clinical
is.
article, so but they broke it down. Okay.
Did they do a good job?
60. They did a good job. This is a
Okay.
really good study. Okay. But let me know if you think it's crap or not. Okay, because with studies, sometimes it's like, come on,
They in control of the numbers.
right? Come on, people. Okay, so this is related to COVID and sex. COVID can reduce a person's
Sex drive?
sexual drive and their overall sex life, because now it's time to get olfactory. Oh, I just did it. Okay, sense of smell.
Oh wow, you do be tying everything in together though. With his
Actually, I do, because everything's going through the
stuff.
same clinical
Yeah.
filter. Okay, between 60 and 90% of COVID-19 patients report partial or total loss of their sense of smell. Okay,
right.
which is olfactory, and our friend has not regained all of her sense of smell
Seriously?
from the
But she had it
20
3
times that she's
Yeah.
had COVID. She's a magnet for COVID.
And thank you, Jesus, I have never had it.
And for about 5% of that's a miracle that you have not had COVID.
No, my doctor was really scared. Are we about to go on another tangent?
That's okay. You took me there, but I never had it.
Look. I'm getting good.
But
I'm
you
catching
getting us
myself.
back on? Yes. Okay.
Let's get back.
And for about 5% of patients, the loss persists for 6 months after they have had COVID. Now, this is the significance of this. Here's the link between COVID, our sense of smell, and sex. They did a study, and what the study revealed is that men are able to smell
The cat.
through a woman's sweat if she is sexually aroused or not. And here's how
What?
they tested it.
Wait a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Wait.
Oh, this is juicy. See, I was going to cover this on the podcast last night, but one of my hosts came up with a different story about this man has been peeing on this woman's grave.
Who's going on a tangent? Who's going on a tangent?
Sorry about the tangent.
We're going to start keeping track.
Y'all check out.
Can I have the engineers start keeping track of who goes on the most tangents? Thank you.
Check out that podcast last night from Alpha Male Perspective. Okay. And so what they did was they took women, and half of the women, they showed them porn and sexually arousing things, and then the control group, which is the other half, they showed them just regular videos. And so after they did that, they swabbed their armpits. I can't see what's going on. They
Keep going.
They swabbed their
two tangents.
I need to see. They swabbed their armpits, and after smelling cotton swabs from the women's armpits, the men could identify which ones were sexually excited and which ones were not.
Well, that was easy. Funky armpits and non-funky armpits. That was easy.
They all were funky.
They all were funky.
All these women was sweaty.
How come they was sweaty?
It was a difference in the sweat because, well, maybe the other control group, maybe they weren't sweaty, but their sweat did not smell.
How did they make them sweat though?
I don't know. It's probably
it was probably
the natural sweat. It was probably the natural because
Yeah,
naturally.
but just think, if you sexually aroused, you're gonna sweat more.
But the cotton swab, I mean, they swab in pits, period.
Yeah, pits, period.
All the women's pits. And so even the women who were sexually aroused would have a lot more sweat, maybe.
Exactly.
But what's on the swab is on the swab. So even the women who was watching regular videos,
because
their armpits are still going to have a natural amount of sweat.
A little bit of sweat. So that's what I'm saying.
Because they didn't let them put on deodorant, I'm sure.
They didn't let them put on deodorant. So, I mean, hell, I could probably smell and see who was more aroused than the other one, because it's going to be a stronger smell. Just think, if you're not doing anything, you don't really have no smell. But if you get aroused and you're doing something, then you are going to have a little more salty sweat on you.
So you're thinking that the sexually aroused women, they were funky.
Yeah, they were pretty funky. Oh, funky hoes. Can we say that word?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh. The D.
What?
Oh, the D just called them funky.
Yeah,
okay.
So I don't agree with it.
Okay. Hold on. But let me get through it. Okay. I'm almost done.
Okay.
They're saying that the loss of the ability to smell in COVID patients could put a detectable dent in their romantic and sexual interactions. And men with anosmia, which is a loss of sense of smell, men with anosmia have fewer sexual partners than men with fully intact senses of smell. So basically, the study is, even if they messed up, because the D is saying them women were funky. That's why the men was like, "Ooh, she funky. She's ready for me." Okay.
Funky
She's
cow.
ready for my love. Ooh, the funk.
The funk. They'll let the funk out. They'll let the funk out.
As the D said, the D's like, oh, they were some funky hoes, right? Okay. And so.
And these are not the views of KUAW.
No. And so, but they're saying that for men who cannot smell, they are less sexually aroused. That's an interesting study.
Maybe we need to get back on a date now. And ask them, have you had COVID or not?
Them men that was coming after you clearly had their sense of smell, because they was all trying to get up in the D's draws. Yeah, it was bad. Okay.
And my milkshake make all the boys to the yard. Okay, I did a tangent then now. Okay, let's go back.
Okay. D, take us to our question of the day.
Okay, what is our question of the day, JP?
All right. New school versus old school parenting.
Woo woo. Okay, and today,
yeah.
I'm sorry, were you done?
Well, just, we're going to take a look at it. What you got?
We're just going to look at it, okay? So today we're actually going to bring in our engineer, Mr. Walker. He's going to be commentating today. Okay, let's go, Mr. Walker. It's JP against Stacy D.
All right.
Let's see who's going to be the best.
Old school versus new school. A child knocks down a display at the grocery store on purpose. Old school, new school. How would you handle it?
Okay, I'm gonna let JP do it because he's upset about this.
What the hell?
Let's see if he gonna be old school. Okay, this is Sasha Poo. Done that.
Let me tell you, and I know people think my baby's spoiled, but my baby has been able to clean up since she was 2. She thoroughly cleans all the rooms where her toys are.
Her dad is OCD.
What I would do in that store is, the first thing I would do is look at her and say, I don't know what your problem is. What you gonna do is get over there and clean up that display. So then when the store people come out, because they come out and they're like, no, it's fine, we got it. No, she got it. She got it. Now you stand back and my baby gonna clean this mess up because she made a mess. And what Sashi Boo does is says, oh, I made a mess. She hates to make a mess because I might be instilling a little bit of, and I need to be careful because she's really neat. She don't even mess up her clothes when she eats. She's only 3, and she cleans up well. Like at night when it's time to go to bed, she's like, "Dang, time to clean up. Go to bed. Go sleep." And she cleans up the whole family room. I would make her clean that mess up. That's old school.
That was old school.
Now, what I think new school parents would do from the new school
seen
parents
it,
that I
so that's
see
where I got.
therapy.
That's where I got the. That's what I got. Oh, come on, let's go.
They look. Oh, hurry up! Let's leave before they see you did that.
Yes. There was no consequence. I mean, I was looking at them. I was just like, because mind you, I'm being mindful because I'm trying to find different things to bring to this segment. So I got my therapy ears up, so I'm just looking at all type of things, just regular old things. And I really hate this. I'm going on a tangent, but it's related. I did had a video that I wanted to bring up on the show, but we like always, the engineer had some technical difficulties.
How did you send it?
It don't matter about how I sent it.
Did you just email it? Because he would have been able to.
The engineer had some problems.
The D's making sure she don't get blamed. The D know I'm willing to blame her if she caused the problems. Okay, I'm trying to help Mr. Walker out because Mr. Walker probably does not feel like he's the problem. Mr. Walker, were you the problem? Mr. Walker do have technical difficulties.
Exactly. Trying to get me fired.
As our viewers know.
But I'm gonna tell you what a real quick of what the video was like old school, new school kids. It was like the kids was yada yada. What was the word I was saying? What was the little song? It was like tweet sweepy, tweet sweepy, tweet a bumbo bitch. She's rocking and dropping all day long. So that was old school. Like that's really our 70s, 80s,
right, old school,
60s.
old school.
Okay. Then it had a video of the kids jumping on somebody's car. Hey, shake that thing to the wrong. When the beat drop, rock it up, rock that booty.
That's modern kids.
Yeah, that was.
How old were the kids? Please say they wasn't young.
The same age as the Tweety Lee,
and
which
they
was
were
elementary.
They were probably twerking.
They were twerking on someone's car.
The innocence.
The innocence is gone. Exactly. Okay, so like I said, when I was at the grocery store and I just sitting back looking at it, and it was a little girl. She's a cute little thing, and she just went poosh, because it was like one of those little displays for the Chiefs. How they have all that stuff going, and she just went poosh, and her mama started cracking up, was like, "Come on, let's go."
And she laughed.
They all laughed and rolled out.
See, it's not funny.
It's not funny because you do not understand the animal that you are developing. Okay, move to the next question because he is about to go therapeutic on us. Next question.
I was about to say something.
Right.
I was about to say something, but I'm not.
All right. Next question is: you are at the store with your child in the car. Do you have a conversation with them before you go in the store, and what is that conversation?
Oh wow, that's a good one.
Okay, you answering that or me?
I'm gonna let.
This is what I would do. Now, mind you, I've never had to do this with our boys or with Sashi because they naturally know not to ask for crap in a dadgum store. But what you do is you say, listen, we going in this store. I know what I came here for.
This is old school.
Don't you touch nothing.
Don't you touch nothing.
Don't you ask for nothing.
Don't you ask for nothing.
And if you
don't even look for nothing.
If you act a fool in this store, I'm gonna act a fool with you.
Right there. And if they call the people, they can take you. That is totally old school, everybody.
And then you get out the car and go in the store.
And you get out the car and you go in the store and don't have any problem.
Now, I don't know why it is that we've never had this problem. Because Sashi at 3, she should be wanting stuff.
Getting ready to do that.
But she doesn't eat candy.
My granddaughter don't eat candy.
And that's why we have never given her candy. And we're leaving town. I hope my sister's listening. Do not give Sashi Boo candy. Because once you open the door to candy, that's when kids start asking for every dadgum thing in the store.
Right there in the aisle.
I don't want her to know and to, like, she look at candy like, what is that?
What is that?
She don't play that. So, yeah. Don't be asking for crap in the store because I've watched too many parents and the kids starts to have a tantrum. Okay, fine.
That's
and then they grab the candy bar and they go ahead and buy it.
And they go,
a mistake.
Or they just all walk out the store and leave everything. Yeah. I seen that at the grocery store. I told you I had a good time in the grocery store, just picking up
doing
things.
Research.
They just literally the little girl, it was a different little girl, cute little girl too. And she just kept no, and she just and she just took her and they just walked out the store, left the groceries and everything. It was just a done deal.
One thing that Sashi does like, she likes Blue's Clues and Bubble Guppies. When we are in the store and she sees those toys, what she will do is say, "Ooh, Blue's Clues," or "Ooh, Bubble Gup," but she doesn't ask for it.
Yeah, just pick it up and buy it.
I do.
Exactly.
Actually,
so she don't have to ask.
Sometimes
she just
I can't resist. But
she just say it sounds so sweet when she says it.
To prevent,
oh, let me go get that for my baby.
Right. But to prevent her from getting spoiled, I force myself to not always buy it. Because I need for her to be able to walk away from stuff that she sees and that she likes.
Good. Yeah.
But it's harder for me.
It hurts you more, though,
than for her. Because I'm like,
Nadine don't have a problem with saying no. She know which one to go to already.
This woman will say no. This woman's thinking no before they go in the store.
Exactly. She knows. She's 3 years old and she know which one will do what at 3.
Right. But Nadine ain't totally innocent because we got a whole bag of just like every time Sasha used the potty, she gets a new toy. That's some new school parent. And she ain't had an
That's a new school parent because guess what? I never bought a toy for going to the bathroom.
I can't remember. She has not had any accidents. I can't remember her last accident, but she still get. Let me tell you,
toys.
she like potty toy. It's just for pooping, right? Because the issue was the pooping and constipation, and the doctor explained this is the reason why she's having these accidents. So now she's like cool and she's taking craps. She's like, okay, potty toy. Girl, we ain't even flushed this crap down yet.
She
Give me
already
a
named her
minute.
potty toy.
Right. I'm like, can I flush the crap down first? But so that's
Pablo's
what
theory.
that's what you have to do. Yes, that's what you have to do. Is don't always buy the toy just because you are financially. See, this goes into the whole old parents versus young parents, because I'm like, I had kids at a late age and can financially buy them and can financially buy them what they want, and so
a mini island if she wants one.
it's hard for me to walk away from these toys that she likes. But you have to do it, parents. Do not consistently always buy them what they want, or you're going to end up with a spoiled kid who has fits in the store like the D is describing.
Okay, next question.
Because we talked too long.
Put Facebook down for a second. I like to party, and I party with my grown children, smoking weed and drinking. Is that okay?
Oh, Jesus. I can't handle it.
And we're not going to let him go into his stuff that he's doing.
You go first, D. You go first.
No, it's not okay.
I can't.
The whole thing about it is yes, they are grown adults, but guess what? You still have to keep that level of respect. You just still have to keep that level of respect. And I see that a lot of times. Basically, I was out and about and just seeing women like picking up men, and we was in a situation where they could smoke weed. It was in the after hours, and they were smoking weed and handing the blunt to their daughter. And it just like made me just cringe when I seen that, you know. When I think about it, that my son is 38 and he smokes cigarettes, and he won't even smoke a cigarette in front of me, you know. Mm-hmm. It's just keeping that level of respect, and that will almost definitely cause generational curses, because your children literally see, if they see this, well, I can do that, and then I don't have no respect. You have to keep those level of respects.
Yeah. My answer is going to sound a little hypocritical, because I think at a certain age you can allow your kid to maybe have a drink in your presence. I'm not sure about partying, but my nephew,
I agree with you. I agree with a little bit of a drink. Yeah.
For his 40th birthday, because he doesn't even really drink much, and so it was his 40th birthday, and everybody was buying him drinks, and so that whole thing. What I struggle with and don't agree with
situation
is smoking weed. I don't like parents. I know parents who smoke weed with their teenagers. I have a problem with that. But let me admit my biases, because I've never done any drugs, and so
same here.
I'm basically an anti-weed person. I don't do all that, and so I'm probably not in a position. I need to ask some weed smokers, would you smoke weed with your kids? Not the ones that I see in therapy, because I already know what they
ask.
But some of my friends, I'm going to just start asking them. The ones that smoke, I'm going to ask them, would you do that?
Would you do that with your children?
With your children.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
don't
ask the man that has a son. Because he's going to say yes. They will actually go out and pick up women together, okay?
So I need to ask the men who have daughters.
Yes.
The mothers who have, what about mothers? Does it matter, the gender?
It does it does when fathers and sons. For some reason, I don't know why, but fathers and their sons.
Anything goes between a man and his boy.
Yeah, like really, 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 like because I know I had to check my son's father about that. I had to check him. He 18 years old. Dude, don't make me have to come over here with a baseball bat and bust up everything up in here. And he didn't listen, and now
boundaries. Keep the boundaries in place.
That's exactly what it is. And my oldest son and his father, their boundaries are very enmeshed. Like he'll talk, and I never heard my son. He's 38 years old. I have never heard him cuss.
But he cussed with him. Yeah,
and
they're homies.
And we'll call him a name.
They home what?
Yes, I had to get my son about that. I'm like, you will not talk to your father like that. And he just looked over there looking stupid.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wish a heathen would.
And mind you, his father is 5 years older than me.
A man and his boy.
A man and his boy. You have never lied. Okay, what's the next question? Because I have to move on.
All right, moving right along. What is a good age for potty training? Old school,
my
new
God. Here we go. The D is coming for me. She started some mess.
And we're not going to stay on this question very long.
According to the physicians, according to the pediatricians, your child has until 4 to be fully potty trained. At 4, they start questioning, okay, we need to run tests. We started potty training Sashi at probably 2, 1, late 1, early 2. I don't know. She's hard to potty train, but I think it's because I was hard to potty train. Thank God my sister ain't here to tell the story.
Go ahead on with your excuses. Once again,
what do you think?
My children are 38, 35, 36. No, 38. I'm sorry, babies. 38, 35, 34, and 33. All my children were potty trained by the time they were 14 months.
Did you potty?
It don't matter who potty trained.
You didn't.
They were potty trained at 4. They was all the way potty trained at 14 months, like not having no problems at nighttime or anything.
How did
my
she
mama
do
did
it?
not play that.
How did she do it?
They was placed on that pot for 12 hours at a time.
Exactly. Okay, now we getting into old school, new school.
Old school. Yeah.
Because that was my mother's approach. And my sister, she still jokes and teases me that I was on the pot all day because I was so hard to potty train. What happened though, and this is common, when you take a parenting approach like that, sometimes your kids will go to the opposite extreme. I swore that I would never leave my baby on the potty.
You don't even do you even remember being on a potty?
I don't remember it, but I've been hearing about it.
So you got
my whole
secondhand PTSD.
Or indirect PTSD because I don't remember it traumatizing me.
Right.
But I've heard about it my whole life, so I've absorbed it, and I always said I am never. And I thought my mother was a saint. The world revolved around my mother.
Until it got to you about potty training.
Let me tell you, the sun rose and set on my mama, but I wasn't going to do that. And my baby ain't sat on no potty all day.
Now,
I don't do that.
My grandsons, that's the twins, by 18 months, they were potty trained. I remember that. My granddaughter, she was almost 3 too.
Why?
Because at her daycare, it's going to be a natural experience.
What is that? Well, that's what the pediatricians say.
It's going to be a natural, Mom, it's going to be a natural experience. I'm like, well, guess what? I am not going to be wiping her butt and she eating the same thing I'm eating.
New school. Because that's what the pediatricians say.
That's what they're saying.
The pediatricians say kids will just naturally start using the potty. That you really should just leave them alone and let them do their thing. Now, we didn't do that.
Y'all halfway did it.
No, we did a new school intervention. Here's the new school intervention. Is you... Basically,
we already discussed that before.
Did you strip the kids naked?
Yeah, and they just run around the house.
Okay,
run around the house buck naked.
But it worked because.
What's the next question?
I'm trying to explain. We already did
that.
Our viewers need to know a new school approach.
Okay, let's hit a new school.
Training.
Just run the house buck naked.
You done told them to leave their kid on the pot all dang gum day.
Just run around the house buck naked. When they want to get on the pot, they get on the pot.
Naked from the waist down because kids do not like to pee and crap anywhere. They're okay with peeing and crapping in their pamper, but not on the floor or on the furniture. And within a weekend, your kid will be potty trained.
Okay.
I got that from my girl Kim, and it worked.
Kim.
It worked.
Okay, next.
All right. Okay, how do you feel about saying no ma'am, and yes ma'am, or no sir and yes sir? For children, parenting wise.
I just don't answer 'em.
Yeah. The old,
That's old school. I don't answer.
yeah, the old school,
And I do that with my grandchildren.
the old school
Yeah,
a part
now.
of me feels like, yes, kids need to say yes ma'am and no ma'am, but I have to confess, I never really taught either our sons, or we haven't even taught Sashi that. We teach her yes and no. And it's something that I agree with, and I think we should do it. I just don't know why I never did.
I don't answer.
If they don't say yes ma'am and no ma'am.
I don't answer. Ask my grandchildren, they'll tell you. And I was feeling so well. My grandson plays football for Ward High School, and I went up there, and you know me, I'm trying to go through the. I'm finna go on a tangent real quick. Okay, so anyway, I was at Ward High School, and one of the teachers tried to stop me, and I was like, no, I'm coming in this way because I am. And I was like, and I'm a honey, and he was like, honey, are you the William twins grandmother? I said, no, I'm not their grandmother. I'm their father's mother. And they,
Oh, Lord.
and he said, your grandsons are so respectful. They're like one of the few children in the schools that says yes ma'am, no ma'am, yes sir, and yes sir. And that gets them up, that gets them further in that school because they're so respectful and nice and mannerable that even when they're in trouble, and they was like, are you supposed to be over here? No, sir, I'm not, but I'm trying to get to my class. Okay, go ahead on, Williams Brothers. That's what they call them in school.
Yeah. That's
they
the
get to get
highest
passes.
level of respect, because there are levels of respect. Now, I will say, our kids were always respectful to teachers and everybody. They say please, they say thank you, they say yes, they say no. So we basically land at that level right up under that. But what you're describing is the highest level where there is sir and ma'am. So yeah, and I agree with that. Okay, Mr. Walker, what we got?
I think we have time for one more. Pick out a good one, Mr. Walker.
How many is left in total?
I had about 13.
Oh, you about halfway through. Matter of fact, this is right at the halfway mark. So
We need to do part 2.
Okay.
yeah. Okay, what old school, new school? The child says, I don't want to go to school today.
What do you do? How you handle that?
I'm a mixture of new school and old school on that. One, you don't tell me you don't want to go to school. You
That's
going
the
to
old school part of it.
But at the same time,
You got to ask
the new
why.
school part of me is I'm okay if a kid wants a break if we're going to spend the day doing something that's going to be memorable and be in their memory forever.
That's lovely.
I did take one of my sons to do indoor skydiving on a school day. I confess, I did. That's the only day that he missed though. So I don't think people should go too far with it. But like when I was a kid, senior skip day, I asked permission. My mother gave me permission. I was like, Mom, it's senior skip day coming up on Friday. Can I skip? And she said yes. For 2 or 3 senior skip days, because we had multiple senior skip
I
days.
used to skip school all the time in high school.
Oh, I did a lot of skipping, but I got permission.
Listen, he did a lot of skipping, but for senior skip day, he asked for permission.
Because the principal, they always would find out when senior skip day was, and they would say, we're suspending everybody. If we show up at that lake, Wyandotte County Lake, if we show up at that lake and we catch you, you're getting suspended. And I needed to be sure I couldn't get suspended, because then I'd be in trouble. So
He was always 10 steps ahead in high school. Look at that.
I like to be 10 steps ahead. So I was like, while the other seniors was like, oh my God, I hope we don't get caught, y'all. I was like, I don't care if I get caught, because they gonna be like, oh no, and his mama called in for him. And my mama knew Mr. Ellison.
They went to school together.
No, my uncle was his teacher when he was in high school.
Really, see, my mom went to school with Butch.
See,
So yeah,
So-
it was a
my late frat brother,
Catch-22.
rest his soul.
Yes.
Do we have time for?
Wait a minute, I'm doing. I gotta
One
say
more.
my old school and new school. Okay. Okay. So the old school with my children. Get up in the morning. I'm turning lights off, banging on doors. Y'all better get up and get ready and get up out of here. We're not playing this. Mom, I don't care. I gotta go to work. You gotta go to your job at school. Point blank. Period. And then after they get up, and I was like, it's not that bad, is it? No. And then this is me as a parent. I'm telling you as a parent. And then I would go to them because, mind you, I had just finished my MSW. So then I'm asked, is there any reason why you don't want to go to school? Nah, I'm just tired. All right, well, you going. Bye-bye now. Okay. So now
I thought you was gonna say you let them stay home.
With my granddaughter who stays at home with me, she just do not like getting up in the morning. So it's really like me, like having to. I sort of have to coax her to get up. Come on, Drea. Get up now. You know you gotta go to school.
Does she want to miss school though? Because this really wasn't a problem with my boys because they love to go to school.
She don't want to get up in the morning to go to school. Now once she get up and get it going, okay, I can go to school.
Because you need to be checking that. Because I ain't never had no problem getting no kid to get up for no school. I don't play that.
She's not a morning person. And once again, this is this new school stuff that lets her say it's okay for her not to be a morning person.
Who cares if she's a morning person or not? School starts in the morning. She needs to get up.
We understand that.
See,
and we're working on that.
You getting real new school right now?
We're working on that.
You get
well, that's
real
my mini me. Yeah, I really got new school. That's why that was a good question because I wanted to say how I did here and now how I do now. I'm
you in honey mode.
I'm in honey mode, and I just like, okay, Dre, you have to go to school, honey. This is what the little helper told me. Can you quit talking to me? I'm not in a good mood. It's in the morning.
I wish I'd have to hotline myself,
and I have to chuckle. And
you bringing out my old school. Now
and I have to chuckle
real quick. Here's our morning routine. It's a mixture of new school and old school.
Hold on.
I would get the boys up.
Okay, you talking about the boys? Okay.
Yeah, I would get the boys up. And we don't play that. I'm coming in, I'm telling you. And they would race because they had to share one bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And so we didn't have trouble getting them up because whoever would get to the bathroom first would almost intentionally take a long time to make the other ones mad. And you know, when a boy get up, he got to use that bathroom.
He got to go.
And so we never had trouble getting them up. But I would, if they wanted a hot breakfast, I would cook them a hot breakfast if they wanted it. Pancakes, it didn't matter because my mother always I had pancakes for breakfast every morning. And then we would have time to watch one of our shows before going to school. Now, here's the problem. They didn't have to ride the bus. And the bus stop was literally on the corner, and I still would drive them to school every day. I never met, because I always had to ride the bus or I had to walk to Quindaro, And so that's a little new school that they never had to ride. I'd drive them to school and pick them up. Would leave my office in Missouri in between sessions, drive all the way to Washington High School to pick them up.
Everybody, that's at least a 20, 25 minute drive.
Yeah, drive from Missouri
40
to Kansas,
minutes all to get almost a whole hour.
To pick them up from school because they didn't want to ride the bus.
They didn't want to ride the bus.
And I didn't want to make them. But I didn't play about getting up in the morning.
I guess we all twisted in old school, new school. But this is going to... Okay, so JP, are you going to be here next week?
Yes, we need to do part 2 to get through the rest of the questions.
Cool. We're going to do part 2 of old school, new school parenting. Take us on up out of here, JP.
All right. That is our show for today. Thank you for joining us. God bless. And remember, worry about nothing.
And pray about everything.
Thank you.
Hey, don't forget to like us on Facebook, Periscope.
And share.
And on YouTube. Bye-bye now.
Bye-bye.
And you can also pick up a replay of this show at 7 p.m. this evening. You can see it again. So if you miss it through the day, catch them at 7 p.m.
All right.
That's our nice engineer. He's not going to get fired today. Bye-bye now. Go ahead out.